We are back again for another Transformer Slag podcast, top 5 Transformers of the year. It's the end of 2024. It's a tradition that we've done for almost a decade now. And I'm once again with the legend himself, JawzD.
How you doing, everybody?
I
Oh,
love
oh,
it.
oh, there you
Love
go.
that mug. Once again, what we always do, we do JawzD's top 5 of the year in 2024. We do my top 5, and then we do the top 5 voted by the fans. We had over 350 votes. A lot of stuff. We'll get into that in a moment. Give special shout outs to Patreon and YouTube members and everything. So without further ado, JawzD, what is your top 5?
All right, all right. So my top five, I don't really think I have a specific order. I kind of try to group it and kind of give each a shine to like each kind of class kind of thing.
Mm,
So I'll just say for me, Legacy Core, I gave it to Generations Cheetor Core class, Beast
uh,
Machines Universe, the definitive one right here,
Isn't it kind of sad?
the
I
most
always
definitive one.
You can't. It's hard to see on the screen. I always give a shout out to that old Titaniums one that Don Figueroa did years ago, and it's the best one, and it's still pretty bad. And it's like one day. I mean, that's probably the one that you vote is probably the best one thus far. One day we'll get our like good sized Beast
Yeah,
Machines
because
Cheetor,
I remember for me, I remember was it the Night Slash one that
Night
became
Slash
CAT
Cheetor.
scan and
Yeah,
everything. Like I got the CAT scan one because I felt that was easier to get than the
and the actual
original
Night
one that was
Slash.
retail.
Yeah,
So yes, we finally did it. We did it, everybody. We got there. We did it. It's awesome. Everyone can pick it up. It's not gangly. It's posable. It doesn't
yeah.
look weird. It's not ultimate Cheetor.
It's sad that something that's like a fraction of the size did more than like something the size of a house cat that could barely stand. Yeah.
um, my number two over here is uh, Origins Wheeljack.
A lot of people voted for it. It didn't make the spoiler, it didn't make the top 5, but there was quite a few people that liked that one.
It's really cool the fact that this form factor
Mm,
becomes and kind of looks like OG Wheeljack, just some blocky parts. But I mean, you got to do what you got to do. But
yeah.
I think it's really cool that we're getting a lot of the that we have, and we got a lot of jazz the sorry the Cybertronian G1 like opening kind
Yeah.
of
More to Meets the Eye
Transformer.
Part 1 designs. And
Yeah.
again, designs that on paper were never meant to be turned into toys, and yet here we are today, you know.
Yeah, and especially since the little side part about it is kind of like, well, when they're in their alt mode, when they're in their robot mode, they look like the
It's
cars they're going to be and not.
yeah, well, yeah. They clearly didn't bother with the robot mode animation models. They were just like, whatever, Optimus is just going to look like a semi, Bumblebee is going to look like a Volkswagen. But when they transform, yeah, they'll have some kind of uniqueness. Again,
Yeah.
something back then that was never intended to happen. But
Hmm.
40 years later, here we are.
Exactly. And then I also gave it to Studio Series Core Class Steeljaw. I don't
Interesting
have one on
choice.
me on hand, but I just think that little guy is super cool. You're
Mm,
always gonna get a Ravage, you're always gonna get a Frenzy, you're always gonna get a Rumble. It
the
just feels like
blaster.
Steeljaw doesn't get his just due. Maybe I'm a little bit wrong, but just
No,
seeing the dude from Blaster's one of his little minions gets some shine.
you're right. Like it's a name that they keep alive, but they'll sometimes attach it to unrelated characters. But yeah, no, I agree, and it's an interesting choice. Yeah, a Blaster's cassettes never get enough love, in my opinion. Ram Horn, the whole crew.
Yeah. And then I said for my next one, the Legacy gift set, a Dino King.
Oh, you know what's up. You know what's up.
Just
Spoiler that's gonna be on my list.
but I mean, like, even though these guys are a retool of the Dinobots, we already knew, like, we already kind of figured, like, wait a minute, there's six in here.
Yeah, and not only that, the configuration of where they were on the body. If you
Yeah.
really knew Dino King, and I'll obviously say it for my part too. Like, I love it and this is a common thing when I do the voting sometimes. I love it when it's a character that the only other version is like $1,000 item. And
Yeah.
the fact that fans could like Dino King, especially, it's number one. It was a toy. I own the original. It has GPS. It's a
Mm.
fragile toy. The pretender shells themselves have their own issues because those old pretenders have like it's like leaky plastic. It's a whole other story.
Oof.
Yeah, it's they call it pony cancer in the My Little Pony community because it's like because it's the vinyl plastic breaks down over time, and we don't
Mm-hmm.
really experience that as Transformer fans. The most we would have to worry about that was like rubber wheels,
Okay.
like
Yeah, yeah.
splitting. But like in the pony community, that's where that term originated from because all their stuff is vinyl, and then
Mm.
the tail apparently of a My Little Pony is held together with a metal washer. And apparently that
Mm.
metal washer, if it rusts, it then has a chemical reaction on the inside. So you have
No.
Transformer toys that have metal screws, and then you store it in the pretender shell, and it creates a chemical
Mm.
react. It's
Oh
science.
wow.
But the point is, long story short, Dino King, the original $1,000 item that's loaded with problems. So it's one thing like Minerva, hey, it's a $2,000 item, but at least she doesn't have a lot of problems,
Yeah,
like that's
exactly.
like this, it had so many problems where now they've finally done an update. It's actually better than the original because it includes a weapon that was part of the show that was animation accurate that the original toy didn't even have. So Evan and Mark and them, they did a fantastic job on it. I remember when I went to San Diego Comic-Con where it was first shown in person, I messed
Hmm.
with it and I was like, "Oh my goodness, like this is what people have been waiting for years." And it's actually
Yeah.
bigger than the original too. It's taller than it. Like there's great box. The box is G1. Like
Yeah.
it's so amazing that thing. I can't gush about it enough. But yeah.
I know like the last Dino King thing I kind of have is like a, Saurus from France project. And so it's
Yeah.
like it's way nicer to get something that's not going to stab you.
Yeah.
Like that thing was sharp. That thing
Yeah,
was not for kids,
third
but
party was where we had to go for years for both the
yeah.
shells and for the robots. It was again really really unique design that
Hmm.
just for years was like gate kept behind money
Yeah.
forever, and
It's
fans were not able to own that character. So love that.
definitely hats off to the team that worked on this box set. I would hope that it's more available for everybody.
I don't
In the
think it's
future.
that difficult an item. I think
No?
yeah,
Okay.
I think because it was a Hasbro Pulse exclusive,
Yeah.
and those things they usually always also produce them in numbers that they show up at GameStop. They show up at
Okay,
like
okay.
so they're out there. It's
Okay,
like San
good, good.
Diego Comic Con. It's kind of the same thing. They kind of
Yeah.
overproduce them for that purpose.
Okay. And then my last one on my list, Commander Class, TF Legacy Beast Wars Universe Magmatron. I have him down
Yeah.
there, but I haven't brought him over. I'm really hoping that his counterpart is
Oh yeah.
I mean the
Oh yeah.
American counterpart
Yeah.
will make its way, but this toy was super cool. I liked how they really showed off all the little features and stuff, and they were super proud of what they were doing, and they all the individual parts work very well, and it works extremely well together. And then you get that weird mutant hybrid in between.
Mm.
I would call it like a Beast Wars V Walker mode, basically. In between.
For the longest time, the translation for it, no joke,
Mhm.
it was called orgy mode. That was
Duh.
literally how it translated. It's just how it translated.
Hmm.
Um, because it's like the three combining into one or something.
I got his little
And
sword right here.
yeah, no, great. You know what? I love it because that was a figure that had the original Beast Wars Neo Magmatron. It had a very unique design, but because of its uniqueness, it was very limited in articulation. It was kind of very
Yeah.
stiff. Fun figure, but clearly a product of its time. And Beast Wars Neo was one of those lines that it went from crazy shell former, hyper articulated to like very cool design stuff, but kind of boxy. Same
Right.
thing like you were mentioning, a certain big convoy. Great looking figure, but kind of limited by his alt mode, unfortunately. Made him like a football, as I always said. Um, but again, great looking figures, and so this is taking those great ideas and bringing them into the modern world, and little extras of articulation, and just really focusing on the individual dinos too. So
Mhm.
fantastic figure. That's going to make the list for a lot of people. That was quite
Yeah.
popular this year.
I was very happy to get him. I was like, oh, it came, yeah, and I opened it up, and I'm like, oh, it's so cool. So, it's not a figure that I had growing up, but like seeing it now, I'm like, okay, I definitely feel like this is, they put a lot of effort and a lot of time
Mm.
into it, and they definitely wanted to make it so it's a little bit better than the original. But you gotta walk before you can run, kind of thing. And when you
Oh,
get the
totally.
chance to kind of revisit it and then really tweak it a bit and say, okay, this is what we can do, and this is what we can kind of get over here and get over there. And also I like having the little the little icon right there. It's like
Little spark crystal, whatever they
yeah.
called it back in and again that's a throwback to that late Beast Wars, early Beast machines where everyone had little spark crystals as a identifier. So,
Yeah,
again,
I mean like for me it's like, we're kind of moving away from light piping in the eyes kind of thing, but it's cool to see something this little throwback right
mm,
there.
yeah, totally, totally. So
And
that's pretty
that's my top five.
that's it.
No particular order.
Yeah.
I didn't rank it into best to worst or whatever, or greatest to on the bottom of the list. Like this, just a gunshot of what I thought was really good for this year, and some hard to get stuff, some really good to get stuff. Um, you know, fun by a fun list had by all.
Well, that's what I always prefer. I prefer that people really go with what resonates with them as
Mhm.
opposed to like what would be, oh, this is obviously going to win and stuff like that. My list is kind of also a lot of that too.
Mhm.
We'll start with my number five. I
Okay.
brought all the mint. So again, all the like stuff that when you've had it all, when you've owned it all, you want to see the stuff that just hasn't been done proper. So my number five is the Marvel Legends San Diego Comic-Con exclusive Death's Head.
Oh wow, that's a left field.
Yeah, there's so much going on with this that I love. Number one, again, just getting a Death's Head in a 6 inch, and by it being a 6 inch, because they did a 3 inch, I want to say like 10 years ago.
Yeah, yeah. I remember we got that back in the
Yeah,
day. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
and And the fact that it's 6 inch, now it's something that could stand next to your Rodimus Prime figure and it actually fits in your display properly. Tons of like, interchangeable parts and stuff. The fact that they did the Marvel Series 2 trading card packaging, um,
That's
done in
super cool.
I absolutely like whoever was in, I think I forget what his name is, but on the Marvel Legends team, I think his name is Jimmy. Fantastic job. When I saw it at San Diego in person, I was like, oh my God, like this is the only thing I want to leave with this whole weekend. I didn't even care about anything else.
Did
But
you
just,
manage to find the actual card of that, or that
oh
actual
yeah,
card ever
so
make it in that
yeah,
series?
I have the actual card. I got Simon Furman and Bob Budiansky to sign that card because
Nice.
Simon created the character. Bob was in charge of that trading card set that year.
Hmm.
So absolutely love that. And again, when you get characters that just are such a big part of Transformers' mythos, but just never really got a decent figure for your display for the longest time, that 3 inch one just sat in my display forever,
Hmm.
and now something that like legit you put it next to Rodimus and it works. It fits the right scale
Right.
and everything. So I bought two of those because I was just like, oh my God, just absolutely amazing. Next one, again, following that theme. This was something that was available last year in mass production, but then they did like a special version for San Diego Comic Con. So you could still get the loose figure
Hmm.
relatively cheap. San Diego Comic Con exclusive Super 7 Unicron.
Mango Cron.
Mango Cron. It's pretty much exactly the same like last year's carded version, which you could get easily for like 19, like $17. But this one came in a G1 box. Like, what if he came in a box? What if this
Right.
actually existed? And so the hue of the mango is a little more orangey, but otherwise it's pretty much the same figure. I mean, there's no difference between. I think actually the carded one might be the nicer of the two in terms of accuracy. But
Mm.
again, the fact that they made a tech spec and a bio
Yeah,
was
you
written,
got to. You
and
got to have the tech spec. You got to have the art
yeah,
on the back.
again, something that like I'm trying to track down a second of this. I should have bought two when I was there, so I'm keeping this one sealed until I get a loose one. Someone will, but
Were you, when we went to TFCon Baltimore, were you able to get? No, I don't guess you didn't have that yet, or
I
no?
had it. I had it at that time. Yes.
You didn't bring it with you to get it signed by the
Oh
artist that was there,
no, Mark. No,
or he didn't do that one,
I don't think so. The
or it's not the
art,
same.
the art that was here. there's
Hmm.
a lot of different rumors of the origin of this, that because some people say that this was based off of fan art that then became official art
Oh,
much later after the fact, because
right.
there's a lot of stuff that's
No, but I
kicking
meant
around.
the
Oh,
back
the
art.
back. Yeah, it's true. I could have got, yeah. Yeah, I guess so. You know what? I talked with Mark. He's going to do some more stuff in the future. You
Good,
know,
good, good.
he has a lot of stuff on his plate that he could definitely do with everything. So that's my number five. My number four, um, just because it's just such a great package. Uh, Studio Series Transformers One Deluxe Class Optimus Prime. I have a boxed version upstairs, but I'll show this one off because I wanted to show it. It's the first time in forever that we had a deluxe class Optimus Prime that has a removable matrix of leadership.
Mm,
Which, I mean, that might sound like, oh, that doesn't sound like such a big deal. We have so many now. Literally up to this point, every time we had an Optimus or some kind of character that had a removable matrix, it was always a higher price point, be Voyager or Leader or whatever. So the fact that we got a deluxe, it comes with removable weapons, the Energon blade, or the axe, the removable matrix, great little transformation. I mean, some people obviously I've heard criticism they would have liked it as a Voyager. I could see that
hmm.
just from a size perspective.
Right.
But at the same time, great little package of a product to get a deluxe class that comes with so much. And
Hmm.
obviously, since then, we've had Optimuses that come with Matrix of Leadership that are deluxes. But up to that point, this was a unique thing because now we have like the Legacy one and everything. But love this, fantastic. I mean, again, the movie was 10 out of 10.
This
So,
that toy is a little bit tricky for me just because like the movie wasn't wholly out yet, and then the Transformer internet rumor mill, and oh hey, we found this and this is what it looks like, and it's like, oh, so that's a little bit of spoiler.
yeah,
Could you calm down? Could you
Th-
not
and
right now?
and and that's why also like getting into that, that's why a lot of times I kind of agree a little bit with that if it could have been a Voyager, because if you remember the scene where he's not even this Optimus yet, he's just the one that has the cog, and he's towering over Jazz and everybody in the
Right,
bunker,
right.
and so that would have made Jazz like a core class. So if he would have been a Voyager, then you could do a deluxe Jazz,
Right,
and then it would have, so I that's where later on I think we might actually get this one, but even better later.
right.
But I appreciate what they've done thus far. I mean, in the same way how we get cores, we get deluxes, and we get leaders of a same design and character in Studio Series. I
Hmm.
don't mind. I don't mind if they do something later, but for the time being, love it. It's a great one. A lot of people voted for that. Didn't make the list, oddly enough, but a lot of
Oh,
people did
okay.
vote for it because it was, again, Transformers One was a fantastic movie.
Yeah.
Um, Going off of that, I have it in the display, and I don't have the box out. Number two is Studio Series 86 Commander Class G1 Optimus Prime, which
Ooh.
yeah, that one's a runaway success with a lot of fans. Um, the only reason why it doesn't get number one, primarily because as someone that owns like masterpiece versions,
Yeah.
like it's it's just doing what Masterpiece did for retail,
Hmm.
and I'm not, and that's not a criticism. That's
Hmm.
just I've experienced the Apex. I appreciate what's been done here. There's
Hmm.
little twists and turns that are different than what has been done before. There's little things that the Masterpiece was able, because Masterpieces, fortunately, but unfortunately, because it's an open-ended budget, they could do what they need to do, and
Right.
and and they'll ask what they need to ask. Where unfortunately with retail product like a commander class, there is its limitations. So there is little things on it that I'm like, oh, if they had a little more budget, they could have painted here and they could have fixed that.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, and I feel like this isn't the last time we're going to see this mold. We'll probably see a better repaint later down. I just have that gut
Is
feeling.
is this particular one very similar to
The
the
very
last
last one,
last
yeah,
one that we got? Like,
MP. I keep forgetting the numbers, but 3.0, I call it.
because I remember when that one was about to come out, or they were hinting about it coming out, we were like, oh man, like how can you iterate on something that you've already done perfectly? And they were
And they
like, I'll
did.
show you.
Yeah, and they did.
They
They
really
really
showed
did.
us up pretty bad.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
oh, what?
MP10 that me and you had before. Yeah, like that's a really great figure, and then they innovated that one. But this is one where it's like you mess with this one and you go, okay, I see that 3.0
Mm.
ideas that have just been kind of budgeted down. Still a fantastic product. Happy that people could get it. It's just it doesn't make number one just because I was getting a lot of those similar vibes of something that I got. Geez, I want to say like 3 years prior, 4 years prior.
Mhm.
So still great though. Love it. And just a reminder, there is a 2.0 version of that because another thing too that kind of hurt this was it actually shipped misassembled. Um,
Oh.
yeah, the rear lights of the truck mode in robot mode you don't even notice it, but in truck mode the rear lights that would make I guess part of his heel feet were
Mhm.
misassembled, and to fix it you have to knock out pins and stuff. It's a whole thing.
Aw.
So they released a 2.0 version that's going to be shipping out in 2025. Some people have already started citing it in the states. So point is, still a great figure though. Still makes the top of my list for this year, but it doesn't make number one only because of those weird idiosyncrasies about it.
Mhm.
My number one, just like what made your list, this boy right here. Uh, like we just stated before, I love that fans who, they're not going to spend $1,000 on something that's going to break.
Mhm.
And if they could get something like this that just does everything the original did, but better, and the love and care with a box that does this, like I haven't opened this yet only because I'm so tempted to like get a second one. And if the second one, the box is beat up, at least I wouldn't feel bad opening because I want to do a nice photo shoot comparing the originals to that,
Oh,
just
okay.
to show how better it is. Because I
Right.
messed with it at San Diego, and I was like, "All
Mhm.
right, I'm set. This is the greatest thing ever." Like I couldn't believe it, like that they did that, and
Mm.
love it, love it, love it. So that's easily my number one of the year, the Hasbro PulseCon exclusive Dino King, without question. Maybe because I just really love Transformers Victory, but again, just the fact that it's accessible for everybody. It's not $1,000 item anymore. Uh, and then all the little bells and whistles and the long form journey when we got Volcanicus all those 2-3 years ago, and we knew what was coming just looking at
Mhm.
that and going like it's only a matter of time. And they did it as a box set, which I appreciate too. So
Yeah.
you don't have to hunt for every individual limb. There's a
And then
lot.
and then they're able to throw in that weapon as well.
The weapon that again show accurate. The original toy didn't even have that. So just layers on layers of greatness. That again, shout out to Mark and Evan who were behind that. BMAC who did that too. Like just fantastic stuff. Absolutely fantastic. We'll get into some honorable mentions before we go
Ooh,
into the top five voted by the fans. So these are
okay.
honorable mentions by the fans, and then we'll get into also some individual stuff that didn't make the list, but they were voted by Patreon members and YouTube members, so we'll give them shout outs too. So honorable mentions that didn't make it, Titan class Tidal Wave. These are
Mm.
and the ones that they're honorable because they almost made the list. They were like off by like one or two votes. So
Did you
Titan
did you
class
have
Tidal
any
Wave.
personal honorable mentions or anything like that?
Not really, not really.
No?
Like I feel like there's like every year there's tons of great stuff that could have easily made the list if there was like these items didn't exist. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's very rare because people always ask me, "Do you ever have like a worst of?" And it's
Ah,
very rare. It's very rare that there's something that's like bad.
mhm,
Like I mean, I could have easily put like TF1 Megatron on here.
mhm.
I think that's a fun one too, but it's just there's only
I think I
five.
had one that was an honorable mention in my
Go ahead.
my opinion. It would have been Studio Series Leader Class concept art Megatron from the Bumblebee movie. The fact that we didn't see Megatron in that movie in that opening intro, and
That made
then that
also the
guy,
that made the
huh?
honorable mention list too. Yeah,
that
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 got
would have been that would have
yeah.
been mine.
So Titan class Tidal Wave got an honorable mention, got quite a few votes, but just didn't make the top five. Again, really cool update of that design, making him the sizes he should have been all these years ago. Like you
Mhm.
mentioned, Studio Series concept art Bumblebee movie Megatron made the list. Again, something that was like on the cutting room floor of the movie just didn't happen. And then we only talked about this character for years through like, oh, here's some production art. Here's like this piece of box art that where does it come from? So
Right.
finally to get a figure of him, and is a very good figure. This one too, Missing Link Convoy, which was taking the G1 Optimus Prime but giving it super articulation. Uh,
Oh,
yeah,
that
that
was that
also
was pretty cool.
That's awesome. That whole line, like I'm looking forward to what they do with that because there's a lot of really cool ideas you could like. There's talks of like doing G1RC again, like the original, maybe even that Unicron. Who knows? Like so like that's a very unique line that Takara made. And again, it's a lot like Masterpiece, where whatever it costs, it'll cost. And I
Yeah.
like lines like that because then it's not limited by budget. And then again, the last one here, the honorable mention of United Voyager class Beast Wars Silverbolt, with special shout out to Mikey and Louie who voted for that one too, because they really love that one. So those were honorable mentions there that made the list. And again, that was one too. Hey, updating a classic Beast Wars character, making him a little larger than the original. And I mean, that original toy was pretty awesome to begin with, but
It
more
was spot on.
articulation. Yeah, making more articulation in the wings, just little
Yeah.
things here and there that the limitations of 1997, 98 couldn't have given.
And then
So,
I would assume too they
oh,
would have probably gotten rid of the gimmick because he has the gimmick where it kind
oh
of
yeah,
comes forward and
oh yeah.
shoots.
All the spring loaded stuff has been gutted and replaced more with like blast effects and stuff, much more replica than toyetic. So we're going to go into the top five, and then we'll also do some honorable mentions by other people too. So number five, voted by actually no, maybe we'll do the honorable mentions first. So Ash Bailey, one of my patrons and YouTube members, voted for Vector Prime, the Voyager class.
Okay.
Manchild voted for Leader Class Studio Series Swoop, the Dinobots.
Mhm.
Fair Lady Z, longtime fan of the podcast, voted for Legacy United Deluxe Class Windblade based off of the Cyberverse version.
Okay.
And then Dark Twilight 20 voted for Animated Motormaster, the Voyager
Oh,
class,
okay.
which that's another good one too, forever kept behind the expensive BotCon pricing. I think
Right.
that one was like $200 forever. So the fact that people could get it, and it's better than the original in my opinion. So great stuff. So top five voted by the fans, easily over 250 votes, if not more. We got, it was a lot of them. There was a nice spread of one or two votes of stuff, but then like whatever one was very clear. Our number one was like a landslide, let's put it that way. So
Hmm.
number five, voted by a whole bunch of fans, specifically two fans, Ashnud and Horned Owl, the Party Wallop TMNT Transformer, which I believe I have.
That's
I
true. That
have.
came out this year.
Yeah, I have not opened it yet. Looks fun. What I love about it is the fact that it does the van. It does what I like to call the metalhead mode. So it has like the
Yeah.
van chest, and then you could do all four of the other turtles on top of that with its own individual bands, its own individual weapons. The belt buckle flips so you could put the correct letter. Like very, very cool. Again, something that when we were kids, they had the mutations line, which
Yeah.
had the transforming turtle van from Splinter. And one day we would hope we'd
I
get
think
more
the
of that.
van, yeah, the van was Splinter. Donatello was
A Porsche,
a Porsche. Leonardo was
fire
a
truck,
fire truck. Wasn't Shredder
sh- the drill
the
tank.
drill? Yeah, the drill
Yeah,
tank.
I'm
But
trying to
those are the
remember
only
some.
three I remember from that line because I don't think I saw any other ones
I think
after
that
that.
was it for vehicles. Correct us if we're wrong in the comments. I think that was it for vehicles, and then afterwards they then did, mutations like animals and stuff like that. But
Right.
Bebop, Rocksteady, even in April had one too. So yeah, so again, very very cool party wall, but one of those that are kind of a given. Both Transformers and Ninja Turtles both debuted in 1984, so they share an anniversary together. The original Mirage comic came out in
I
'84.
I al- I also kind of find it a little bit odd that they didn't do a metalhead or like have like, hey, if you do this,
Probably a
then
repaint.
I mean, it
Probably a
might be a
repaint.
repaint, but I do know other third-party people have like add-ons and stuff like
Yeah,
that to get the metalhead if you want the
yeah,
metalhead.
that's true. That's true. Then we got number four, voted by Cringe McCringle, Talib, and Patrick Brown. I didn't think this would make the list, but because I didn't put a masterpiece on this list at all,
Mm.
for myself, because usually I do. Movie masterpiece, Transformers 2007 movie Brawl, the tank,
Oh,
uh,
okay.
got quite a few votes. Like again, I was surprised. I was like, wow, I slept on this one because a lot of people voted for this, including those three individuals from the Patreon and YouTube members. So I don't have much to say really. All I remember from when I was doing the news reviews of it, it came with a ton of blast effects, like just like
Right.
tons of them, so you could recreate when he was getting destroyed stuff. I mean, he looks really cool. Obviously, probably an upgrade from what we got back in the day, both leader classes, Voyagers, Studio Series. So I'll take their word for it that it's awesome.
Mhm.
And clearly, they're not alone because a lot of people voted for that. So very very cool. Number three, voted by T-Formers 2002 and many others, the third number on this one, Legacy United Tiger Hawk. So,
Oh, okay,
yeah,
okay.
again, another one too. I was like, oh, yeah, yeah, that I could see. That was a
Mhm.
really good one, also. Again, taking a character that there's a little bit of it's another one of those characters too. If you wanted to own it, you only had that one figure of that version of that color scheme. And
Yeah.
because it was a late Beast Wars figure, not everyone got it. So it kind of has a weak secondary market in terms of populations and getting a complete one. And it was what it was back then. So this one is a fantastic update of it. Again, anything Beast Wars is always going to get a thumbs up from me, and the fact
Yeah.
that they decided to do a character that in the show was really only featured for like 2 episodes before spoiler was killed.
Well,
You
because
know,
I mean, you can't have someone that OP running
oh
around. I mean,
yeah,
come on,
oh
you
yeah, it
can't
was
do that.
broken godlike character practically rebuilt from the Vok. So and
And
that's
I
something I await the black repaint Razor Claw at some point.
oh
You
yeah,
know,
that's what I was gonna bring up. Like, cause
yeah,
I know when they did the was it the Universe line?
yeah,
When
Universe
they were
1.0.
yeah, so that's one of the ones I got. I was like, oh, I could get this mold. I just want the
That's
mold. I
how
want the
most
mold.
people that so the irony was that's how most people got it because that Razor Claw was wave 1. So super out there, super common. That obviously was purchased a lot by stores, so there was plenty of them in the market. For the longest time, again, I love it when it's figures that people have difficulty getting, and then there's a better opportunity later. So that makes and a lot of people voted for that one. So that
That's
clearly
cool.
shows that was a case of they wanted to own that character and eBay said no to them for many years. So they were just like, okay, well, if 39.99 and USD and you could own it, fantastic. Number two, much like what you voted for, Billy Brigman voted for it. The two twins of David Delta and Chris Cobra, they voted for the United Commander class Magmatron. This
Nice.
got number two. Very popular by the fans. If I remember correctly, I think this was what was voted number one. I think by Hasbro, like they really liked it too.
Mhm.
I could be wrong on that, but so again, very popular figure. We already said our piece about it. Great update of the original Beast Wars Neo toy from 1999. Just a fantastic thing. And number one by a landslide. Not even if you took every vote we got like up to this point of the other guys and put them together, it still wouldn't even come close to this guy. I almost stopped counting at one point just because I was just like, okay, geez, yeah, yeah, okay, yeah, everyone's. So just to name some fans of Charlie Erickson, J.R. Mina from the Philippines, Chavez, Ylag Y, Star Warrior, MS Cord, Dark Angel, James Hopskin, Iron Knight Prime, uh, Ryan Conway, just to name a few, by a landslide, Studio
Mhm.
Series Commander Class G1 Optimus Prime. Uh,
Nice.
with again, I could understand why it did that because a lot of people, once again, that MP 3.0 convoy, I believe that was like a $400 item or $300 item when it first came out. So it makes it difficult for people to invest on that. So this creates a retail version that's under $100 that gives people an opportunity to connect with it and pick it up. And hey, man, I'm happy that people are able to enjoy it. And again, not even close. This was a landslide winner for that. So our top transformer, according to the fans, in 2024 is Studio Series Commander Class G1 Optimus Prime, based
Mhm.
off of his 86 movie epicness with that cool Marcelo box art on it and everything. So awesome stuff. That's it, more or less. Again, I just want to say thank you again for another fantastic year of the Transformer Slag podcast. I always love having JawzD on whenever we could get a chance and everything. And of course, when you get to see him at TFCon, you could always just Tell them how much you love them. Um,
Aw.
but But thanks again for tuning in. Thanks again for everyone who voted. There probably won't be any more segments for the rest of the year, which is just like 3 days or so. And then we'll get back into business in 2025 and all the new Transformer product going into Age of the Primes and everything like that. Thank you, JawzD, for joining us.
No problem. Did you want to do was there favorite memories from this year or anything
Oh, we
like
might,
that?
yeah. Let's do some favorite memories this year then.
Okay.
So, what do you got?
I don't think I have much. I think mine for this year was definitely, uh, just being at TFCon and seeing a lot of people I haven't seen in a while. Like, shout out to Skullface, who I hadn't seen
Bobby
in
Skullface. Yeah.
quite a while. So when I saw his booth on the floor in Baltimore, I was like, oh my goodness! So I found him at the bar and everything. Said hi to him and his family and everything like that. So just reconnecting with people I haven't seen in a while because of the whole world kind of stopping for a bit.
Mm,
That was really cool. Also, I think something that was really cool about this year, or at least towards the tail end of this year in the fall, was the insane madness of blockies
yeah.
happening. Just the tidal wave, like you're just you're ready for Transformers One. You're ready for the new toys coming out. You're getting ready for TFCon, and all of a sudden, just tidal wave blockies
I
coming in.
What I love about blockies, I've talked about this in the live streams. I love that there's like a communal aspect to it where people would buy a case of 9 and they
Mm,
all randomly just take one and then they build together in a circle, you
yeah.
know? Like that's really cool. I dig that. That's and like the crack one. Oh, I didn't want this one. Hey, you want to trade? Like
Yeah.
that. I really dig that about it. They're cheap. They're collectible. They're a good gateway to model kit building because they're not
Mhm,
super complicated, but they're not like super easy either. They're just
mhm,
that right in between of like, oh hey. And then what's cool is Blockies has made stuff that's slightly more complicated. Their action series and stuff. If you do want to get in traditional model kit building and busting off of sprues and stuff, so
mhm.
fantastic little line. It didn't make my list, but it is something that definitely I'm very curious to see what they do in the future because I like what it's doing. I really
Yeah.
do. I really appreciate what they're doing and stuff. So,
I think that was like the aspect that I really liked. Everyone's like, "Oh, hey, I have an extra one if you want one. I have a character for you if you want." Oh,
mm.
hey, I made my own custom character out of the spares that I have that no one
Oh
wants.
yeah, because everything's universal. That's what's cool too. Yeah,
So that I think would be my top honorable mention for sure.
of memories. For me, I don't know, man. It was getting to meet creators that literally were under the radar for years. Like you mentioned, Mark being one of them who did the original G1 box art for 84, 85.
Mm,
Getting to meet Richard, who did like a lot of the box art for 86, 87, 88.
right.
Um, I'm literally, as we're talking right now, I'm literally sitting down with him trying to, because he doesn't really know everything that he's done. So we're trying to identify everything for the future.
Mm.
So stay tuned for that. There'll definitely be an updated Wikipedia page or something with
Uh,
everything.
I think I do
Yeah,
have another one.
go ahead.
So I know we had TFCon Orlando, and we got Victor Corletti
Mm,
there, the narrator,
it
and
is the year
just
2005.
just being in the room when he was doing the script reading. So you have Evan that's there and he's doing the narration and he kind of butts in, "Sorry, Evan, I've got this." And then he does it and you're just listening to it and part of you feels like, I'm a little old, and you're listening to it and you're just like all of a sudden you get back into your jammies, and then you have your cereal bowl there and you got your comforter around you, and he's like, and it's the year 2025, and you're like, oh my goodness, it's him. And so that was really awesome having him in Orlando, and what was really awesome was having him in Toronto as well, TFCon Prime, as I would like
Mm,
to dub it.
OG.
And then kind of realizing he was doing all the commercials as well
Yep.
up until Beast Wars, the first Beast Wars, which is Megatron and the Megatron Crocodile
Croc
and
Megatron, and yeah, I
yeah,
think
and Optimus Bat. Like he was doing all those commercials. So we were literally hearing him throughout our childhood, even
yeah.
up until Beast Wars, which is pretty crazy, which is pretty um impressive and awesome. And he's still here and he's still doing it and he still got it. It's just fun to listen to him go and everything like that. So I think that was also another really cool thing to take to kind of take as a memory. You could probably
Yeah.
find the that part of the script reading online. I'm sure
I'm
TFCon
yeah,
did
TF
already.
Con's YouTube channel probably
Yeah, they
has it,
probably.
probably
I'm sure they
uploaded.
put it up because that was
Yeah.
like, I think he didn't know, like, how the fans were, how the fandom was, but as soon as he finished that intro, just everyone just erupts in
Erupted.
cheering, just like yeah, and even Dan Gilvezan was there, was clapping, and he was like, like, hey, this is the dude, this is the guy right here,
Mm.
So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, well, he's someone who's definitely like been a part of the brand for many years, and again, it's those voices like the Peter Cullens that resonate with people, that stay in their soul forever.
Mm.
Like you hear that voice and it's like, who is that? Like why is it making a rumbling in my tummy? Like of
Yeah.
something. So yeah, no, totally. Aside from that, for me, I don't like. It's just it was meeting the fans, like doing 3 different TF cons and San Diego Comic Con, and just I mean San Diego especially too, just getting to meet so many fans and stuff that are a big fan of what we do here. And I mean I've said it for many years, like we created this podcast to be like this scion of educating and talking
Mm.
about stuff that just I really didn't see elsewhere being discussed. And between having Aaron on the show, having you on the show, and other talented individuals, you know and just being able to discuss Transformers, just be
Yeah.
and talk about it on a deeper level that's not just the toyetic surface of it, but from an engineering standpoint, design standpoint, budget standpoint, and just the importance and the legacy, no pun intended, going forward. So again, thank you everyone for being fans, and for people, the patrons and the YouTube members that support the podcast, and take their hard-earned money to let us know that they love what we do here. And again, thank you JawzD for all
Thanks
your
for having me, man.
love and support, and thanks again for listening, and we'll keep you posted with more cool stuff with Age of the Primes and Studio Series and everything in 2025. Roll out.